We are doing something very, very new for Paper Wishes, and today we're doing UV resin. We are creating some jewelry with the use of this kit, and it is so neat, and there is no mess, and you can do this quickly. Okay, so please come play with us. Well, let me start by showing you the end result. Now, these are in bezels. Bezels are this metal frame. It doesn't have a back, so it's kind of a floating design, which I absolutely love. This has dried flowers in it and some jewels, and you get in the kit. Well, in fact, let me just rip this sucker apart and show it to you. And I do appreciate that it comes in a kit because that's just such a nice way to start a new craft. Okay, the kit's doing a good job of staying closed. Okay, let me pour all of these out. There are instructions in the kit, so that will also give you the guidelines. So and that's just exactly what I'm going to be telling you. So the kit's got some dried flowers, which we're going to use. It has these sheets that are adhesive that's going to hold our bezel in place. It has the 3 bezels, so you get the oval, the rectangle, and the circle. This is about 1¼ inch tall and almost an inch wide, about 7/8 of an inch. They're all similarly sized, and they come in a package like this. Now you also get, this is UV resin. Let me get this open. Okay. And by the way, we do have these available individually, so that after you do the kit, if you're like me, then you want to go and do more. So that was fun. You also have the UV resin. Now that comes in a dark container because it is triggered by light. So anyway, that's how that comes. And there is a UV light, and yes, it is a flashlight, and you will need to put some batteries in it, and it takes 3 of the AAA, I believe. Yes, the AAA, so it's these little guys, and let me show you on mine because I bought the kit. You just open this up at the end where the loop is, and there's a little container, and you just put the 3 AAA batteries inside, okay? And then just screw it back in place. And this is what we're going to use to cure our projects. And that just screws back on. And it is a flashlight, so it's going to go on like that, okay? Now, the way you start is to select. So now we're going to get started. So you're going to choose which shape you want, and I think I'll choose the oval. And I have spread out the dried flowers that you get in the package. There's also the rose, remember? I showed you that. And you do get the bezel tape. Now you get 3 of these, and they're kind of a blue color. And this is going to seal our bezel, the back of our bezel. So let me pull this off. So, and then you're going to place your bezel on top and just make sure that that tape is really secure to the back, because that's what's going to hold the resin in place, okay? And when you're creating this, this will be the front side. So what you're looking at is exactly what you're going to get. Now, we're going to use the UV resin, and you always talk about it in terms of UV resin because it's not the 2-part resin. And when you open this up, now I've already opened this up, so I have removed the liner. There's a white liner. So you want to take that off. And then you also then want to unscrew that lid. So we're going to first create a layer, and that's going to be obviously with just the resin, not the flowers or anything else. So I'm going to squeeze this into the container. Let's see, get my fingers out of the way so that you can see what I'm doing. And we don't want to fill this up because we have to do several layers. So let me put that in, and then I use this very unique tool, it's called a toothpick, to spread the resin around. So I just want to take the resin into the edges, and I'm pretty careful to make sure that, well, I'm not pretty careful, I'm absolutely careful to make sure that it gets all the way around. And you can move the bezel or you can move yourself, whatever works for you. But we definitely want to have a secure layer where the bezel is covered with the resin. And if you need to, you can pour more resin in. That's always fine. And I just make sure that I'm looking kind of from every perspective to make sure that that resin is truly touching the bezel. So if you have any doubt, just scoot it around. And unlike the two-part resin, there's no time limit for this. So that's kind of nice. But then there's also the instant gratification of curing the resin. So, okay, so I always take another look just to make sure that I see a shine everywhere. And I see that. So then I'm going to take my flashlight and I'm going to hold this right above it. So I'm directly above, and I'm pretty close. I'll show you after this is done, and it's going to be 60 seconds, so we'll be right back. Okay, now this is hard because I've cured it. Now I'm going to choose which flowers I want to do. So I'm going to save this for the circle. This one and this one. Now because I'm going to put two of them on, maybe I'll use my tweezers. There we go. I want to place the bottom one down first. So I'm going to put the pink one down, then this little flower on top. But first I'm going to put a very thin layer of the resin so it will hold it in place. So I'm just going to put a bit here. And again, it's just going to be a thin layer because I want to hold my flowers in place. I'm going to spread it with my toothpick just to get it all over. You can see as I'm just spreading it. And of course that bezel tape is sticky, so that's fine. Same thing, just taking it to the edges, but it's just a thinner layer. Now I can add my flowers. I can also add other things. And very shortly, you are going to be thinking of the 20 different things you might use to put into bezels, because that's exactly what we did. And in fact, we will have more webisodes as we go exploring through the resin, the world of resin. Okay, so we have that down. I'm going to take my pink flower, a little pink flower. Again, you can decide what side, and I'm going to place it, I think I'm going to hide that little curved area. Let me just put that down. And then I'm going to place the other one, this one, at an angle on top to kind of go in here. And I notice that it is wider, so I'm going to need to break something off. No, you're not going on this one. Ah! Stay in control, people. Okay, I'm going to break that off, and then I'm going to rest it back in. Now, I could have kind of measured it on under the bezel before I started this. That would have been a smart idea. She thinks of now. Now, okay, so you can see that. Now the other thing that, as I said, you can add other pieces to this. And one of the things that caught my eye was this wonderful package of jewel mix. And you can see all the different colors, all the different things you can use. I'm going to take a pink one, and I would have to do that in just a minute. Let's see if I can set that in place right there. Okay, just to add a bit of sparkle. You can also use the inclusions. So these are the message heart inclusions. These are the regular heart inclusions. They're super tiny. In fact, I can show them to you right here. And the sizes are on the description. There's also glitter that you can use. Aha! This package has fine glitter as well as a little chunky glitter. So that's something else you can do. So with this, I'm now going to cure this resin. So that's going to be another 60 seconds. So we'll be right back. Now you might be wondering how far away the light is. Well, I held it pretty close. So let's see, let me show you, about like that. So you just want to be, kind of up close and personal with it. Now that is secure in place. And I'm going to do one final coating of the resin, and I'll do one final curing of the resin. So same thing. And the coat that I just gave it will hold the things in place. And this is just the final layer. But I am going to get my trusty toothpick out again and make sure that that resin is in truth covering everything. We don't want any surprises. So here we go. And again, I tend to look at it from as many angles as I can to see that that shiny stuff is everywhere and completely covering. And I see right here that my flower has raised a little bit just because it is a three-dimensional object. So I'm going to get a tad more resin right in that area. Let's see. Just putting it down and moving it, as you can see. And you can put other coats of resin on it. So I want to make sure that you get exactly what you want. And you can see how that crystal is just doing a nice job of filling in that center area. Okay, one more round of the light, and this is, they're recommending 1 to 5 minutes. So we'll be back. So there we go. It's done. Now, when I peel the bezel tape off, I'll show you something that happened. I have read or heard that you can use any kind of tape. I'll tell you, I did a piece and I used package sealing tape and it was horrible. So, I just think you might want to stick with what works. See how some of the resin seeped out under the piece? You can just peel that off. So there you go. And if you have a piece that you don't like, you can pop it out. I used in one that I was working with, it didn't quite fill the bezel and I didn't notice it, which is why I keep saying you want to look from all directions. You can just pop it out and throw it away. Okay, so that works. So there we go. Now with this piece, I did put another of the little jewels right here, but I do believe you could also put one of those hearts, and That's kind of the look you would get, which I think is lovely. For the circular pieces, circular flowers, scoot this over, that Queen Anne's lace, I just thought it was really pretty in a circular bezel. What I loved was, well, what I do love is that these are floating. They're kind of floating inside the bezel, and they're going to match whatever you're wearing. So if you're wearing black or brown or whatever, especially when there's white flowers, it's really going to show up nicely. So I think that's very fun to know. So with this kit, you're going to have things left over. So let's see, in the kit, you don't get the little hearts, that's extra. But you do get one each of the three, and as you use your flowers, so I had used this one, you can see those two that I used here, you still had some extra, and that's kind of nice, kind of enticing. And you can get, in fact, when you are done, you will have some resin left in your container, so that's nice. And you can do more things with this, which is what I love. And layering them, I think, gives you another option for filling the space as you will. And you can string these just on a piece of ribbon, or if you've got an extra chain at home. Our 1/8 inch wide ribbons is going to go through those just quite nicely. So let me know. Oh, I guess the other thing I wanted to show you is thinking of things that you can add. There is this as an additional piece of flowers, and it looks like this. So they're all in separate containers. They are smaller than the flowers that you get in the first package, kind of our discovery package. So that's really nice. And I hope that you like this. I'm pretty excited. In fact, many of us here have been making these like crazy. UV resin is what we're calling it, or is what it's named, and we'll be sharing more with you. So I hope you've enjoyed this. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment. We hope you will like us and subscribe to the channel. At paperwishes.com, we do have a money saver, as always, on the right side of your screen. No instructions are coming with this because everything has been done in the webisode. Also, you do get instructions, just like I've shared with you in the package of that discovery kit. So tell me what you think. I'm really curious, and we will be doing more with UV resin and Paper Wishes.